Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 34 of the Sam Hossack Media Podcast. Two special guests today, and we'll get to introducing them right now. First up, drafted second round, 31st overall in 2018 by the North Bay Battalion. Please welcome Joe Vrbetic.
You.
And second up, drafted in 2019, first round, 7th overall, from the Sarnia Sting, Ben Gaudreau.
Thank you.
Now, obviously, you guys are close friends, so just talk about how the friendship kind of started and how special it is to continue that today.
Yeah, him playing in my hometown, I think kind of that right at the start is kind of I knew him from just playing with the junior team in town. So I think he was coming down in the summer for some training or something, and we tried to kind of hook up and go get some wings. I think at Wacky Wings, and from there we just kind of kept on talking for some reason. I don't know what mistake I made there. But no, we had a pretty good relationship off of that. Work out together now, train together. But yeah, it's been good for the most part. It's a little bit annoying every once in a while, but no, it's pretty good.
I just felt bad. I wanted to stop talking to him after the first hangout, but I just wanted to be a good guy and keep going.
That's awesome. Now, Joe, you played the 2018-19 season with the Powassan Voodoos. Just talk about that kind of experience of playing junior at 16.
Yeah, obviously getting drafted second round, I obviously wanted to play in the OHL for my first year, but I talked to my goalie coach and GM and stuff, and they thought it'd be a good idea to play junior first to get a lot of games in and kind of train to be a starter instead of a backup. So it was pretty nice. I was still signed with North Bay, so I was able to practice with them when I could because I was still living in North Bay. So other than that, though, Powassan was a fun year for sure. A good group of guys, and we had a pretty good season as well.
Now, that season you also played for Canada Black at the under-17, so just talk about that experience a little bit.
Yeah, it was definitely a fun experience. Everyone at that age too, like they were all playing in their OHL, Q and WHL teams. So I was probably one of the only junior guys. So it was pretty cool playing with them. They were at the next level already, and it was a great experience overall. And playing against the best players around the world was definitely fun.
Now, for Benny, you spent that year with the North Bay Trappers in midget. Just talk about how that kind of helped you develop and get ready for the OHL the next season.
Yeah, I was playing with older guys. They might not have been as skilled as junior guys, but no, they're some older guys. You're getting in with the locker room with older guys. You're playing against older guys. So it was definitely kind of like a little bit of a learning experience for me. We kind of split time with Joe's probably future goalie partner here, Reese Prue. So I got to kind of experience with him, have a good goalie partner to back me up and start. So yeah, it was a fun couple of years with North Bay, and yeah, we had a really good team that year. I think we lost in the finals at OHF to the Toronto Nats. Ended up playing the Talis Cup, so we had a good team and couldn't pull it off in the end. But no, it was a lot of fun and helped me kind of get drafted where I did and kind of had the start to the OHL career that I have.
Now, the next year, like Joe from the previous year, you got to represent Canada Black at under-17s as well. So just talk about that experience.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Joe's laughing because he knew I played awful at that tournament, but no, it was a fun experience. Got to hang out with some of the best players in the world, right? So it was definitely a learning experience. Learned a few things about how to actually make a save. Still working on that a little bit, but no, it was good. But yeah, it was a lot of fun and got to play and meet some pretty cool guys. So it was definitely a good learning experience.
Now,
Unreal numbers too.
I'll never see better, buddy.
Now, the 2019-2020 season, you guys went up to your respected OHL club. So just take us through your first OHL games and how they kind of went.
You go, Benny.
I can go first. So yeah, my first 3 games, I went 3-0. Not a big deal. Posted a pretty good save percentage and stuff like and was feeling good. And then I ran to Ottawa and got absolutely smacked in the face. So it was kind of a little bit of a learning edge from there. And then I went to U17s and obviously carried that play into U17s. So coming back kind of to learn a little bit more confidence. I didn't really get back in until after Christmas. Kind of picked up from there and just tried to keep on playing my game. And just got into it probably about, I want to say start of February, maybe mid-February. I really started feeling myself and started playing well. And I kind of rode that through to the end of the year. And I think I played the last 5 games. I was supposed to play the next ones. So I was finally starting to kind of really show what I could do. And yeah, and we beat North Bay. So it was a great year.
It's because I wasn't playing. That's why. I only had to let in 4 goals because you let in 5.
No, that was 4. It's 5-4.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's better. No, my first OHL game was, so we had North Bay the past few years. We've been a part of the Kitchener Showcase at the start of the year. So, I mean, my 16-year-old year, I guess I would say that's my first actual, kind of OHL game. I think I played Saginaw that game. We lost 3-0, but I got 40 shots. So, and they were a good team that year too. So I was pretty fired up after. And then that year went by when I was with Boston, and then the next showcase I played Kitchener, and it was in Kitchener too, so there's a lot of fans. And I think the first period I got like 25 shots, and I think I didn't let in a goal, either let in 1, but I was like, holy Christ, like I'm on average to get 75 shots today. Like we were getting run over. And then I think I ended up getting like 62 shots that game. We going in the third period, I think we lost, or we were up like 5-2. We ended up losing 6-5. I got like 62 shots. So I was like, Jesus Christ. And then second season game, we played Kitchener too in North Bay. So I was kind of a little bit worried. I didn't want that to happen again, but we ended up getting a 3-2 dub in OT. So I was pretty fired up about that.
Now, Benny, I think it was your first OHL win, but barely 50 saves. Take us through that game.
Yeah, Barry's a big game for me. Joe's gonna try to one up this because he got a shutout against Barry, but nobody cares. But yeah, it was a big game for me. Kind of like getting into the game, I just kind of wanted to try to play my best. I think we were 0-7 at that point, so the guys weren't putting any pressure on me to go in there and like keep a win streak going or anything like that. So yeah, I went in, just tried to make as many saves as possible, play my game. It worked out. We got our first win of the season. I think it was 5-1. Had 49 saves. Yeah, so it was a lot of fun. Got my feet under me. Had a lot of family and friends there supporting me. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. Kind of a good way to get into the league, but yeah, it was a quick turnaround with Ottawa a couple games later. But no, it was fun.
Benny, did you say you work out?
All the time, buddy.
Now, something that I really had to bring up that Benny absolutely loves to hear is the wolf in Sudbury that they bring out every time the Sudbury Wolves score. So take us through, both of you. You've played in that building. How cool is it to see that wolf, or how much do you hate it, Benny?
Yeah, we should probably start with Joe. He's seen it a lot more than me. A lot more.
Yeah, we got. Oh yeah.
But no, I'm not a fan of it. Yeah, I don't really, I can't keep my head down. I kind of knew from a young age about the wolf, so I guess playing it last year, I didn't really look up too much at it. Kind of just looked down and wondered why I was letting pucks in. And then I'd look at the scoreboard and watch it go right through me or something like that. So it was a tough game in Sudbury. A tough northern road trip, but no, it's never been a thing that I've liked, but you got to get through it and just kind of find a way to pretend it's not there and keep going.
I actually never knew about the wolf before, honestly, but I got to know it the first game.
I
I think
knew
it was
about
like
it last year.
Yeah, 4th game of the season last year. We got killed like 9-2 or something like that. So I got to know it pretty well.
Now, for Joe, a good buddy of mine is Mitchell Russell. What's your best story on that guy?
Oh man, I don't even like, the season's been so long ago. I don't even know, but he's definitely one of the funniest characters in our room. So there's a lot of stuff that goes on when there's a lot of humor around. He's definitely in the middle of it, and he likes to speak in the dressing room a lot. So he's a really good guy to be around for sure.
Now, obviously, OHL season gets cut short last year. Kind of take us through where you both kind of were and what was your first kind of reaction to hearing the season was going to be cut short?
Yeah, for me, we just got off the ice. We were going into a game against, I believe, Owen Sound at home, and I was supposed to start the game, so I was kind of getting fired up, and we were, it was just after practice, so we were getting fired up. I think it was a morning skate to play that night or the next day or something like that. And we got off the ice, and the coach just kind of pulled us aside and said, "Season's postponed. We'll be back in 2 weeks. Just try to stay fit." So going into it, I wasn't too worried. I was like, you know what, like whatever, it's 2 weeks, I'll be back. But I went home that night actually, and things got way worse. So I ended up packing everything. I think I left the next day, came home. And then for me, it was just stay fit, get ready for the next season, which sadly for me started up with having to train with Joe. So yeah, we kind of got together during that stretch and just tried to kind of do what we could both do to stay fit, get the beach pods going. Definitely better than Joe's, but yeah, it was a good off season at the end of the day, and I think we both put a lot of work in, and yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, like when the season first got canceled, I think we were supposed to play Mississauga that day, and I was kind of fired up too because it was for March. It was just that March break too. So I mean, I know for Benny too, like we had, I think it was our last day of school until March break, so I was kind of happy about that. And then we were supposed to play, so I was home, and then some of the guys in the group chat just sent all the links, for NBA players and some other guys getting COVID, and then all the big leagues were getting shut down and everything. So I so we were waiting, and then we heard a guy on our team knew a guy from Mississauga, and they said how they were halfway and turned around and stuff. So obviously knew that wasn't happening, and then yeah, same thing. They said 2 weeks, and then we went home, and then obviously it never happened. So I was just training at my house, doing what I could, and then was in Ottawa a bunch of times to train and get on the ice, and then was up in North Bay sometimes to visit, and then was with Ben a bit. So yeah, that's what I did.
Now, obviously, no OHL season this year. Obviously, it was tough news, but did you guys kind of have offers to go overseas and play, or were you kind of just holding on to hope that there was going to be an OHL season?
I think a little bit of both for me. I had an offer to go play in Norway actually, in their pro league, but I didn't have my passport in time, so I couldn't go do that. Yeah, it kind of sucked at the time that I couldn't go over, but at the end of the day, it was pretty early. I think it was like right before Christmas, so we were still kind of thinking the O might start up in January or something, and it might be a waste of time to go over there and it just to be shut down, or like the O just to start right back up. So yeah, I think the most part I was trying to stay positive the OHL would start up. Obviously it didn't, but I got lucky in my case with the U18s that I was able to go there and get some games in there.
Not a big deal, eh, Ben?
Not a big deal. Not a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, for me, we what was the question?
Did you kind of have offers to go overseas?
Oh yeah,
the year?
Benny was talking too much. I just lost my train of thought. Yeah, I mean, I talked to my agent. I think it was around January. I talked to him about the options and what I could do. And I mean, the thing tough for us, and especially being goalies, like I know a lot of players went, but all those teams over there have their teams made already, and it's easier to put a player on there. But I mean, for goalies, it's pretty tough. So he was, they were looking for me, but obviously it didn't happen. And then same thing. I mean, just waiting for a season to happen because it did. Sometimes it looked good and sometimes it didn't. So just kind of hope for the best sort of thing. And but instead I was just around and then training and doing what I could do.
Now, Joe, you play in a division that kind of featured guys like Quinton Byfield and Ethan Cardwell, just to name a couple of the big guys in that division, even James Hardy. So how was it? What was it like to kind of face those guys on a regular basis in the division?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, well, with Sudbury, we played them more than anyone else. So I mean, I know every time we played Sudbury, obviously it was Byfield, and to watch out for him. And even though the coaches told everyone to kind of make sure he's on the ice and stuff, he still put up about 5 points a game. So we didn't. He was definitely a really good player. And then obviously with Mississauga and Barrie, with Cardwell and Hardy, they were all those players are really talented. And it was definitely hard playing against them. And I know for me, always gotta make sure those guys are on the ice because they can do anything, and whenever they have the puck, like who knows what they can do. So you always got to be ready.
For sure. And Benny, you're in a tougher kind of division with Saginaw and Flint. Obviously, those are top teams in the OHL, so you had to go up against guys like Vrbetic, Angle, Curtis Douglas, just to name a few from that division. So talk about facing those guys.
Yeah, there's a lot of good players in the West Division, a lot of good teams too. So it's hard. I mean, battling for a playoff spot, you got to battle every single game. Same with the East, but I think if we were in the East at one point, I think we were in third or fourth place, but we were last in the West. So we had our nice playoff spot in the East, but we couldn't even even get close to a playoff spot in the West, right? So that just kind of shows you. But like every game is a battle. It's nice to go get a little relaxing break and play Joe. But no, it's every game, even in the East, it's a battle. So just about being ready and doing what you can when it's time.
Now, what's your favorite and least favorite trips in the OHL?
For me, I think it'd be like the Sioux, maybe, because we have to go all the way through states over to the Sioux and then back through. It doesn't seem like it's going to be long, and then it ends up taking forever. I didn't have to come back from Ottawa last year. I left right from Ottawa to go to U17s, so I know that's a pretty bad one too. But yeah, my favorite, probably like London or something where it's nice and close, and a big rivalry. It's always fun to play in those games.
Yeah, I know for me, I think my favorite one last year would have been, I mean, we only did it once because we don't play the West teams too much, but I think it was 3-game weekend. We played London Friday, Windsor Saturday, and then Sarnia Sunday. So we stayed in Sarnia the whole time, but it was definitely fun because I mean, Friday night play in the Bud, and then Saturday night play in the Windsor rink. So 2 really nice rinks, and then kind of a letdown in the Sarnia rink. But I mean, I think the worst for me last year was, I mean, I'm an Ottawa boy, so that's my hometown. But I think that road trip, I didn't really like it too much. We had Peterborough the Thursday night, and then they were a good team. So I mean, we didn't do too well against them last year, especially in Peterborough. I think Kingston has a nice rink and everything, but we always had a tough time against them. And then, I mean, obviously Ottawa was the best team, so we always got beat pretty hard. So it was kind of tough, getting smoked by them and then having to drive 4 hours back and get back pretty late.
Now, for your respective teams, who's the hardest shot you face in a practice?
Yeah, I mean, for me, there's kind of a few guys. We had Jamison Reese, obviously last year, had an unreal shot. Jacob Perreault, another guy with an unreal shot, and then Eric York, one of our defensemen. He had a cannon of a shot. Yeah, Jacob and Jamison, the two of them can really put the puck wherever they want to put it. So I'd say it's between those two. But yeah.
Yeah, I think Mitch Russell and Luke Moncada for me. I mean, Mitch would always do different stuff in practice. He'd try out, taking a rest shot and do a quick snapshot with a quick release. So he has a good release. So I mean, I always had a tough time there, and he'd always put in different places. So I always every practice, every day, I was always trying to figure him out and what he would do. And then Moncada, he's a really strong guy and obviously older too. So he could really put his weight into it and had a really hard shot. And he was a top scorer for us last year and did really well for himself. So he definitely knew how to put the puck in the net.
Now, is there a guy
Yeah, he's probably the best player in the O. I'm not gonna lie.
Now, is there a guy you guys have faced in your careers that you're like, holy crap, I'm actually going against this guy right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think my first game, I had that kind of like wow moment with Suzuki. Forrester was out there as well, so the two of them were pretty big names. So I think kind of playing against Suzuki, that was the one that I really remember being like, wow, like this guy's pretty sick. So I think that was kind of the only time that I really did that. Another time that I guess I could say that I kind of thought about that was when Liam Foudy got called up to the Leafs there, or the Blue Jackets to play against the Leafs. And he scored one of the goals there. And I remember just thinking like, wow, like I remember saving that guy. I remember getting scored on by that guy. So it's pretty cool to kind of look at the guys that you've played in the past and where they're going.
Yeah, I think playing Sudbury a bunch of times, obviously Byfield. I mean, I played in the GTHL my minor midget year, and I knew him from before, just playing in tournaments. So obviously, I knew he was something special. And then, getting drafted first overall, and then knowing he was gonna, obviously go probably top 3 in the NHL draft was like playing against him was like, just definitely a wow moment. And I think on the London team too, playing at the Bud, with McMichael and Foodie and Stranges, Evangelista, all of them. It was, and especially in the Bud too, I think I was pretty nervous going into that game, but it was definitely a great feeling, after the game, especially after I played well too there.
Now, another guy that you both have played against is Tyler Tucker. How hard of a shot does that guy have?
Yeah, it's pretty good. I can't even like. I don't think he shot too much on me. I think he shot once and scored once. It was on a 2-on-0 though, so don't be blaming me here. But no, he has a pretty good shot. Comes off the stick fast and just got to react to it and try to make a big save. But no, he has a great shot. He's a big boy, right? So he puts his weight into it and comes at you pretty fast.
I actually don't remember him shooting on me last year. I remember the first few games against Barrie, the guys they were talking about him and just saying, how much of a big boy he is and how he has a good shot. But I don't remember I don't remember him shooting on me, to be honest.
Now, obviously, it's a guy that you both have played against, and Benny just had the honor of playing with him at under 18s. But Brant Clark, top prospect for the NHL draft this year. Just talk about seeing the skill that guy has.
Yeah, I mean, I think he had a really big developmental year with the Colts. He used to be almost too offensive for a goalie's likings, but no, he really changed his game around, I thought. And especially at U18s, he was unreal. He could play both sides of the puck. Had an unreal stick in front of us. Any kind of odd man rush or anything like that, he was taking care of it. He was throwing his body around as an unreal shot. Yeah, he's definitely going to be an unreal player at the next level, and it's pretty cool to have the honor to play with him.
Yeah, same. My draft year in the OHL when I played for Don Mills, I mean, he was on that really sick Don Mills 03 team. So that year he got called up a bunch of times, and I swear he was definitely our best defenseman out there when he was up there. But so I knew him from then, and then with Barrie when he played last year, I mean, he was just so good. Like he'd walk through our whole team in the O-zone and get a little breakaway on me. So tried to do what I could to stop it, because I mean, if he would have scored, it would have been all highlight reel goals. So yeah, same as Benny said. I mean, a really good player and defenseman, and yeah, he's definitely gonna go far.
Now, obviously, you guys weren't in the middle of an OHL season, but the NHL comes back. So who's your kind of go-to team, and how excited were you that NHL hockey was on for 100+ nights in a row?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about Joe. I don't really watch too much. I'm a Habs fan. Well, I almost got kicked right there. So I might start watching the playoffs here. I got a few buddies that are Leafs fans, so it'd be fun to kind of razz them if Montreal gets a game or two on them. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't really watch too much, so I can't really talk too much about it. But it's definitely nice just being able to see some hockey on like TSN and Sports Center and all that stuff.
Yeah, same. I mean, I don't watch too much either. Like, I didn't even, to be quite honest, I didn't even know all the teams who made playoffs. Like, I don't really follow up on it too much. But I think definitely for playoffs, it's obviously, best part of the year. So definitely gonna start watching it tonight and keep going with it, and see who wins this year.
Now, kind of putting you guys on the spot, but Olympics next year, who are some of the selections you'd put on that team if you were in charge for the Canadian men's team?
Yeah, I mean, I think kind of the obvious ones. McDavid for sure, Crosby for sure. Yeah, I don't even know. I'd say Marner for sure. He's elite. Cale Makar, big Cale Makar guy, really big. Going to goalies though, I can't think of. Yeah, McKinnon. There we go. Yeah, I don't know who I'd put for goalies. I'd have to really look at it. Like, there's some guys having some big seasons. Like Fleury's having a huge season. One of his best, I think. I was watching TSN the other day, and he's having one of the best seasons I ever had. So that's in contention. But then you got guys like Carter Hart who've struggled a little bit this year, but are just unreal goalies, right? So seen that. Blackwood, I know he was on for a little bit there. But yeah, there's lots of goalies and lots of guys I think that could make it. So I think it's gonna be a pretty sick team. It'll be something to watch for sure. I definitely wouldn't put Joe Vrbetic on it. I can tell you that for free.
No, you'd be the guy to say yourself.
But yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, but you're thinking it though. You know it.
Now, at the under-18s, after Canada had won the gold medal, Benny got player of the game, and the announcer completely butchered his name. So, Joe, did you see that? Because they called him Benny Gaudreau.
I didn't even know. I didn't hear him say his name, but I mean, I was watching the game for sure, and just, I mean, I know every game, and Benny could say it too. Every game, I'd find something to rip him apart for, and I know after the finals, I stayed up late to talk to him and say congrats and just see how he's doing and stuff like that. So, but yeah.
Yeah, he poured his heart out on the line for me every night, almost on the phone. He gave me good luck text before every game, told me how well I played, and then he kept on chirping me about things that didn't even matter. So it was, you know what, I can't talk too much on the subject. But yeah, he has to figure it out sometimes.
We'll clip it in here for the fans to kind of see, but we'll play the audio.
They will receive their award after they exit the ice. From Team Canada, number 29, Benjamin Gaudreau.
Holy, that's bad.
It's not as bad as
that's probably the worst I've ever heard him.
It's not as bad as Grant Clark butchering the anthem, though, eh, Benny?
Oh, not at all. It's like, that's embarrassing. That's really bad.
Did he
I'm not
butcher?
surprised. But,
Yeah, Clark was like singing.
Oh God, yeah, he's saying the complete wrong words.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, he screamed in all thy son's command into the TSN camera.
Holy, just too fired up, I guess.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah, they were going along the line, and Clarky screams right in the camera, and then you see him right after. He's like, "Oh shit, I messed that up." Like, he could tell right away he messed it up. So.
I saw so much stuff on like TikTok and stuff like that about him and like about us singing the anthem, and people were just ripping us apart for it. I mean, we deserved it. We were awful, but
I didn't hear you in there, Benny. I was kind of disappointed.
I was too focused on the guy beside me screaming his lungs out. If you go back, I'm at the end of the line. You can see, I think Roulette. He was fired up, and I think he gave out a big like, "Oh yeah," or something like that. It was just so loud and it just pierced my eardrum.
You definitely just don't know the words. It's okay.
Oh, I just don't sing. I don't want to embarrass the boys. I'm probably about to sign a record deal here with my voice. So
There was a bunch of them that were butchering it when they got to the French version. Like no one
oh
did it.
god, yeah. Nobody can do that. Like we only had one French guy on our team too, like one like true French guy, because the Q didn't let their guys go. So yeah, there would have been nobody that could have done it. But you should ask Joe. He's pretty good at the "Pour Some Sugar on Me" song. Yeah, he's that. That's his song. That's his song.
It's your song. Never seen you scream that loud before.
Buddy, we both go. That's a great song. Yeah, it's a big duet song. So that's our song on road trips down to Toronto to train.
Now for your respective teams, best and worst chirper.
Ooh, I think our best chirper would probably be Sean Josling, because he will go for anyone's heart and he'll just rip it out. So he doesn't really care what he says. He just says what he wants to say, and that is what it is. Our worst chirper, that's a tough one. I'm not gonna lie. One of our big things was chirping last year. So maybe Ethan Langevin, my goalie partner. He's just too nice to chirp. Like I don't think he's even chirped before. He's just too nice to do it. Like, yeah, he's for sure the worst, because he wouldn't say a thing to anyone.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think for our team, I'd say worst would be probably Mason Primo. I mean, he's just a really good guy, and you don't really see his expression too much. He's always just chilling around and stuff. So I mean, when he says something, it honestly sometimes doesn't even come out as a chirp. So I mean, he tries his best though sometimes, but best chirper. I mean, there's a lot of guys. I mean, we had Liam Arnsby, Josh Curry, Ryan Thompson. I mean, I was at school with them all the time, and I mean, all those guys together, like they just all gang up on one guy and just give it to him at some time. So I mean, they were definitely funny together, and especially on the bench too. When I was the games that I sat on the bench, I mean, they were always up and yelling at the guys, and so it was definitely really funny.
Funniest
Yeah, I
part.
remember going by the bench. Well, I remember going by the bench there, and I got a big earful from the entire battalion bench when I was skating to my net at my hometown game. I just look over and I got like 20 little guys in green yelling at me, and sitting there like, "What are you guys doing?" Couldn't hear them all at all. I'm sure Joe was probably the leader of that. Didn't know him too well then, and he's probably jealous that I had better style than him. But
I didn't even
yeah.
say anything that game. I was just laughing at you.
Funniest moment on the team bus.
One of our rookies, I'm not going to use names in this story whatsoever, but one of our rookies, we were cleaning the bus after, and he goes, "We should make the vets clean the bus next time." And that went really bad. Like, I was so lucky I wasn't on the road trip for that one, but yeah, that one, that was a funny one. Yeah, that was. We didn't really have too much funny moments, because we have a good travel schedule, so it's pretty quick. Most guys will just take a quick nap and they're out. Time you wake up, you're there. But yeah, that was a funny one. Yeah, I can't say we have too many real funny ones, but yeah.
I can't think about any really funny stories, but I know for us, like the Christopoulos twins, they were the ones, they credit to them, they put in the work for all the rookie stuff, cleaning the bus and doing everything. But there are so many times, I mean, all the other guys didn't want to do it or do anything, and they would always be the ones stuck doing it, and even cleaning the bus and then taking everything out of the bus when we get back to the rink and doing all the sticks and stuff. And they would they were nice about it and they'd do it, but I mean, sometimes they just didn't want to do it, and I mean, can't blame them because they always did it. But then they'd come to us and freak out on us for not doing anything. So I mean, it was pretty funny.
That's awesome. Now, top 3 rinks to play at.
I think for me, I'd say just based
Mem
on like
Gardens.
how good I played these rinks, Mem Gardens is bottom 3. I'd put Windsor, then London, and Erie. I play good at those rinks, and they're pretty nice rinks too. So kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah, I'd say London for sure. We only played in Windsor once because we only play the West teams only once at their rink. But I didn't play that game. But I mean, I remember before I think that was the first time too I saw inside. So I mean, I was pretty, just before the game, just chilling on the bench, taping my stick and stuff, and I was just taking it all in and seeing how cool it was. And I actually think Kingston's rink is pretty sick too. I mean, it's got the history behind it and stuff, and it's got the stuff for tragically hip and all that. So it's pretty cool in there.
Now, for Joe, Chase Stillman scored his first career goal against the Battalion. I don't know who the defenseman was, but he got absolutely walked. So, if you want to throw him on their bus, go ahead. But just take us through seeing that goal.
No, I won't say any names, but yeah, I mean that game that was our first game in Sudbury that year, and so I think we ended up losing that game like 11-3, 12-3, something like that. So the other goalie started, and then I went in for the second period, like mid-second too, and I only played that was the rest of my game mid-second, let in a quick 4, and then he went back in the third. But I was lucky enough to be in there for that goal. So yeah, he was just coming down, and I mean, I don't think, even looking at the video and stuff, it wasn't too bad. And the defenseman said after he tripped on his feet, like I don't think he really got dangled too much. Like, it was a nice move and it did look good, but I don't think it was that bad. Like, I know he tripped on his feet, but yeah, I mean, he went through him and then came on me, and I was kind of cold, and I think in the video too, I mean, I was at the back of my net and stuff, and then he ended up going backhand top shelf, and after that, I when the video was out and stuff, I had no clue, and then said it was his first goal too, and I was like, wow, that's a pretty sick first goal. Glad to be a part of it.
Now, Benny, I think last year alone, you took about 4 or 5 sticks to the throat while guys were trying Michigan moves. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, last year it was pretty annoying. So I'm at the point this year where if it happens again, I'm probably just gonna shed right there and go at it with the guy. It's I don't know. Like Joe could talk on this too. Like, for me, I think it should be banned. Like, at the end of the day, like, it's a high stick. Like, I get they say like a follow through isn't a high stick or whatever, but it's just gonna take one guy getting either their face cut open or their throat sliced open for them to finally realize how like dumb of a move it really is. I mean, I know for me, like, I think I had like 4 or 5 of them last year. I think 3 out of the 5 hit me right up square in the throat. So yeah, like, I don't know. I think it's one of those moves where it's like, congrats, you can pull it off, say it for a skills comp, because something like this, it's not really a move that should be allowed. Like, when you look at all the rules of hockey, like, carrying the puck is considered a penalty, I think, if you're carrying it with your hand. I mean, at the end of the day, it's basically the same thing. Just a little bit more skill to it. But no, I don't know. It's not one of the best moves in my mind, and should be banned. But I don't know. Joe can kind of talk on it a little bit more. He's 6'9", so he probably doesn't have to deal with it in his throat. He's probably getting it around the waist area. But yeah.
You just don't want to get scored on like that. That's why you're saying that.
Buddy, I'm 5 for 5, 100%. Nothing's beating me with that move.
Yeah, it's unreal. I mean, obviously Mishkov kind of pulled it in the under 18s, so I mean, kind of probably worried about that in the finals, eh, Benny?
Yeah, I mean, we had a little bit of talk before pre-game, and my assistant coach actually asked me what I was going to do if something like that happened. And I straight up told him, I was like, man, like I've stopped, I think 4 or 5 of those. If it happens, I'll try my best. I'm probably going to end up sticking them. But yeah, I remember seeing that. I was kind of like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, I swear if this kid pulls it off. But no, our D played really well around the post, and they didn't really give him an opportunity to get a puck behind there, I guess. So it worked out well. And yeah.
Didn't you two-hand someone after they like bumped into you at the tournament or something? I thought you.
Oh, probably.
You
Yeah.
like,
No,
someone
there's one. I remember in the finals. Yeah, the
Mr. Tough
finals
Guy,
there was. Yeah. Well, I got ran, I think 3 or 4 times, and like all like I would look back at them, and all of them should have been penalties. They're all so blatant, so obvious. But I don't even know if I'm allowed to say it, but I did, so is what it is. But no, it was starting to kind of get under my skin. I was starting to get a little bit ticked off. So obviously I kind of took it into my own hands, and I gave a guy a whack in the leg. It wasn't too big of anything, and then they got called for like staying in my crease or something like that. And he's pointing at the ground and saying he was here, but he was clearly in my crease, like to the point where I tripped over him. So I started
you
imitating
gave
him.
it to him.
Yeah, and the ref was like, the ref came up to me after, and he's told me that he was loving it and how funny it was. But I think the kid that I imitated was about to slash me in the throat when I did it. But yeah, I mean, is what it is. But yeah, I don't know. I can get around a few times, but the one guy like clearly kicked me right in the head, and I was like, this has got to be a penalty, right? And didn't get called. So that was the kind of my last straw. I think from there on, if someone touched me, I was giving it to them.
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of say what you want because, I mean, look at what happened to Zellweger. He got absolutely mangled from behind in, like, the first game, and, like, 2 minutes in, there was no call. And he's just, like, face down on the ice, like, just, like, it was like, all right, like, you're not even going to call that. And then they gave, like, the stupidest penalties the rest of the game. So, I mean.
Yeah, no, we kind of ran into penalty trouble. They never really give Canada penalties, right? Because they expect us just to be a powerhouse team, walk through guys, which I guess at the end of the day we kind of did. But no, there's certain penalties and stuff that they gave us and didn't give us that should have been or shouldn't have been. I remember there was one, I think it was in the finals, Mason McTavish, like just kind of put the puck, like kind of gave like a little bit of a whack to like the puck, and it went off the guy's stick, and he called him for a trip. I remember like sitting in my net being like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, you're going to call that? Because I was starting to get tired, and I was hoping that there wasn't going to be any more penalty kills for that period. But nope, sure enough, here we go. But that's kind of how double IHF is with their reffing. They make sure they kind of call like all the stick infractions more than body contact. I mean, they're pretty big on that kind of stuff, and they always have been. So you just got to kind of expect it and be able to play kind of your game without getting too frustrated, and make sure you kind of try to stay away from whacking someone or tripping someone or anything like that.
For sure. Now, obviously, I'm guessing you both have kind of gone through the process of kind of talking to NHL teams in draft years and stuff. So has there been kind of questions that teams have asked you that you're kind of like, all right, like, what is this? What is this question?
I wouldn't say there's anything that's really like, what is this question? There's a few that make you kind of think about what to answer. Trying to think of like one specific one, but like a big one for, like, I know for me anyways, is when they kind of ask you like where you think you should be drafted, and it's kind of like, do I go and try to be like a real cocky guy here, or do I just kind of try to be like civil and smart about it? All right, so like it's pretty hard for Joe, I guess, kind of answering those, trying to pick between which of the last rounds, but
Yeah.
no,
You
it's
should
some
tell
of your
him
questions that make you
undrafted.
think. But no, there's some thinkers for sure. I mean, I remember there was one that we've both been getting basically the same calls, so we've both been kind of thinking and having to kind of talk about the calls after and just be like, wow, like yeah, I had trouble with that question too. But there's one, I forget which team it was, but we both at the end of it we were like, wow, that was a thinker, and we both like said our brains hurt from having to think about it so long. So there's definitely a few.
Sometimes I just like I put them on the spot. I'm like, why are you even calling me right now? But no, yeah, I think for me, just like Ben, like there isn't too much. I mean, sometimes yeah, there's questions even with double parts and stuff. So you gotta make sure you're listening. I mean, don't want to get caught saying like, "Would you ask again?" kind of thing, because then they're gonna think you don't really care at all. But yeah, definitely same thing. I mean, where do you think you're gonna get drafted and stuff like that? And it's like, well, I haven't played in a year, and the last time I played, I averaged 10 goals a game against, but so I don't know.
Now, what fans that you've played in front of do you think are the hardest to play in front
That's a good one.
North
I
Bay.
think North Bay, because they're quiet and there's nobody there.
of?
Yeah, it feels like a minor hockey game when I played there. All my family and friends were there. That was about it. So you guys you guys are welcome for that.
Yeah,
Joe,
they saw
probably
you
got
in
your
town.
best ticket sales.
They didn't see you. They saw you
Oh,
in
those are the
town. Didn't
best
want to
ticket
come see
sales.
you. Oh,
Yeah,
I,
so I think that's honestly like that was the one rink that I had trouble playing in because they were quiet. Um, I prefer being told to like screw off or whatever. I kind of like that. Kind of makes me laugh. I got told off pretty good in Kingston, I think, and Hamilton, and the Sioux, and we also got booed our entire team stepping on the ice in London. So we kind of took a fair share of beating last year with the fans, but it's pretty fun. At the end of the day, they're just kind of getting us a little bit fired up. But in North Bay, they weren't giving me any juice. They were pretty quiet. So I don't know how Joe plays there, but I'll leave that to him.
yeah, no, I think for the most part, I mean, I think the rinks were fine. I didn't really get it too much from fans. Like same thing. I think just Sudbury, just being close and the rivals and stuff. It was every time we went to Sudbury, there's definitely a packed barn and a lot of fans. And definitely definitely didn't help. When we got killed. So I mean, they were going crazy all over us. So it wasn't too fun.
Now, a couple of years ago in the playoffs, big brawl for North Bay and Niagara. Were the boys still talking about that when you got there?
No, I didn't really hear that story. I mean, I think maybe it got brought up like one or two times last year because obviously, the other O2s and the O3s didn't know about it and they're like, oh yeah, like in playoffs, well, I mean, everyone knew who Dan Walker was, obviously. So they would always, the younger guys would ask about him and be like, how was that guy? And then, just tell them, some stories on the ice and stuff like that and what he did. And I think that story got brought up a few times, just threw the gloves off and started chucking them at the goalie. So definitely that's a good story for sure.
I was actually at that game in North Bay, with my like dad. I think my dad and I were watching that game, and I went to go grab a sip of my pop or whatever I was drinking, and I look up and Danny Walker is just throwing them with the tendy, and I was like, "What just happened?" So I was never being at that game actually and watching it, so I can kind of go with that one too. But yeah, it's funny.
Now, there's a showcase tournament happening at the end of this month in the June down in Erie. Did you guys kind of get calls about that, or did you kind of know about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of one of the things that your agents more so reach out, or the players, I guess, and Joe's sake. But no, I from the start I wasn't really thinking about going. Having the U18s go the way they did, it didn't really make sense for me to go risk kind of lowering my stock or anything going to that. So I kind of opted out of that pretty quickly. But yeah.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I obviously knew about it, and I mean, when I first heard about it, I know my parents were talking to me about it, and they're like, "How do you get invited and stuff?" And I was like I don't know. Like, I didn't know if it's NHL teams that contact you and want to say we want to watch you play or whatnot. So I didn't hear anything, but one of the guys he texted me there a few days ago and asked if I wanted to go, and I talked to my agent about it too and stuff like that. And I mean, it's just tough if you go, and I mean you got to go back and then quarantine for 2 weeks, and then after that, I mean by the time then it's mid June, end of June, so who knows what else will be happening then, and then if something else really important's happening, then obviously got to be home and be quarantined. So I think for me too, it's kind of just best for me to stay here and stay home and kind of just keep training and get as much ice as I can.
For sure. And finally, before we wrap up here, obviously NHL playoffs get going here about an hour and a half. So who do you think is going to win the cup this year?
Tampa Bay. I need them to win because I got a pool coming up. I got the first overall pick, and I was gonna go with McDavid, but my early announce of this pick is gonna be Vasilevsky. I had him for my season, and he was lights out for me. So I'm gonna be loyal to him and pick him first overall in the draft. So I need him to win. Hopefully get a few shutouts on the way up there, but I think wins are worth like 2 points. So if I get those wins going, McDavid's probably going to get 2 points a game, so that averages out to a win. I think goal and assist are both a point, and then shutouts are 5. So if Vasilevsky can throw a few shutouts in there, get a few wins, I'm going to be looking nice and good. So have that first pick, definitely going with Vasilevsky. So Tampa's got to win it for me.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't really follow, NHL too much and didn't really watch much of it, but I know like, Carolina, Minnesota, Florida, like they all did really good this year. So it like, especially in a year like this, like I think it'd be pretty cool if, those kind of teams win a cup, like, kind of teams you wouldn't really think about and kind of come from the bottom and come up to the top. So I think that'd be pretty sick.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm a Leaf fan, so I'm going to call that Leaf fans are going to be wearing something like this that says Stanley Champions in a couple months. So, I mean,
you're out in the first round.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Montreal fan, so yeah, I gotta stick with Joe here. I mean, the one time Joe and I will actually agree is that Toronto will be out in the first round, and it's going to be hilarious to see the response on Twitter. I actually can't wait. I think that's probably what I'm more excited about than Montreal winning the cup. But yeah.
I mean, I'll see that when I'm putting out goal graphics for Matthews 3-4 times a game against Montreal in the first round. So we'll have to see about that.
I don't know. I think goal Caulfield there. I think he's going to be good for about 3 goals a game. He's been lights out, so I'm actually excited to see what he's going to do in the playoffs. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like as much as like I think Toronto needs a win. I really do. I just don't know. I really don't. I think they're going to choke again. I don't know if it'll even make it to Game 7. It might be a 4-game sweep for Montreal, but you never know.
Goaltending too is pretty up in the air right now, eh? With Freddie was out, and I mean, who knows what Campbell's going to do, right? So.
Yeah, I mean,
that's true.
17.
I was going to leave that out.
17-3-2 on the year, boys. Come on.
Oh, we'll see.
I think he's one of the best goalies, but he needs rest, which is like the problem in playoffs, right? Because he's never really been a full starter, so he goes into playoffs, and it's gonna be back-to-backs and stuff like that, and he's gonna be playing a lot. And if he doesn't get his rest and he doesn't kind of be able to settle down into that starter role, it could get ugly real fast. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of happens there. But I definitely, like, going into Game 1, I definitely have him above Anderson. Like, I think he's really proved that he can play at that level, and as long as he can kind of fit into a starting role, he'll be fine. And I think if he figures it out, Toronto will be fine, and they'll make it at least to the second round, if not third. So I don't think they'll get to the cup final, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you got to go with Campbell. He's the hot hand, Anderson. I mean, struggled against Ottawa a little bit, but I mean, he hadn't played in 2 months, and I mean, the game kind of meant nothing. Like, yeah, we get a point out of it, whatever. But at the end of the day, I mean, you got Vrbetic as a backup, obviously.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're going to go with. And I mean, have Freddie as a third guy, and if you need him, I mean, you got him there. Salary cap in playoffs doesn't count. It's that huge contract he has. It doesn't matter. So, I mean, he's going to be there. So, I mean, to have two backups that are decent, like Freddie's kind of carried the load in playoffs the last couple of years. I mean, obviously, the team didn't have the offense to get past Boston, but I mean, he was kind of standing on his head at points. So, I mean, to have him, and if he's ready to go, and Vrbetic, I mean, it's going to be a long playoff run for the Leafs, but consistency is going to be key, as you kind of mentioned there, Benny. I mean, they got to get Campbell red hot, and the way the scheduling's kind of screwed them around with the North Division still having to play games with Vancouver. I mean, that back-to-back is going to really kind of those teams. So, I mean, it's kind of tough, but we'll have to see. I mean, it's a Monday-Tuesday game in Montreal, so who knows? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What's the possibility of them playing Boston? Like, when would that happen? If it were to happen?
third round, conference finals.
So they're definitely not getting past the third round if Boston makes it to the third round.
No.
It's a curse.
Yeah, but we didn't have Campbell against Boston. You never know.
That's true. And Matthews and Martin are lighting it up, so
yeah,
we'll see.
We got the extra pieces. We got Simmons, Foligno now. Like, those two, obviously, their last couple of years against Boston. So, I mean, that's going to be definitely
Jumbo.
kind of helps.
Yeah, I think that Engvall there, he should be in the lineup. He looked really good. I watched the game yesterday, I think, when he scored there. I thought he looked really good. Like, I think he'll be a big thing for them. Like, big body, power forward, can score, can skate. I think right now he's like on pace. Like, he has like 0.8 goals in the last 5 games. He has 4 goals. So I think he'll be a big piece.
Yeah, I mean, obviously for Leaf fans, they kind of knew a week or two ago it was kind of Galchenyuk was going to be the extra guy because Riley Nash is coming back for playoffs. They got Foligno, they got the extra pieces they had added in. So, I mean, everyone kind of was like, all right, like, Engvall is kind of the guy out, and Galchenyuk was going to be the last forward that they could put in the lineup. But I mean, Engvall's just torn it up lately, so he's kind of taken the spot of Brooks and Galchenyuk right out from under him. Like, with the week left in the season, everyone kind of says these games don't really matter, but for guys like that, it does, because Engvall just got a spot in the playoff roster and being able to play games now. So, I mean, it's good to see that guys like that can actually come in
exactly.
a couple of games left and actually be able to prove that they're willing to be in the playoffs and willing to be good.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah, it's big games for those guys, and it's almost exhibition games for them at the end of the day, and they're getting kind of their last touches in before the playoffs and trying to make sure that they can kind of keep a position. It's just like Joe on the roller rink. We don't know if he's going to be showing up next time because he kind of sucks, but if he has a good performance, I'll take him. But yeah.
Run your show, man.
That's awesome. Well, on behalf of the listeners, I'd like to thank Joe Vrbetic and Benny Gaudreau for hopping on here today. Best of luck with your seasons next year, and we'll definitely have you on in the future.
Thank you very much. Have a good one.
Yeah, thank you.